All right. Good morning, guys. We are going to go ahead and finish the last part of our chapter review. I want both the matrix calculator kind of up and going as well as my document. So I've got both of them here. Um, we should be, let me get it straight. That will drive me nuts. So like numbers, if I remember right, we actually have gone through the review up until we got to we kind of rushed through the addition. I think we got the addition one right on 15A, but subtraction are you good with that? To do this pass on it? Okay, we're gonna pass on it. Hey, and RJ and Emma, if you need it, you just need to let me know. But I wanted to go through and um the systems of three equations. Again, it's cumbersome when you do it algebraic, like, and that's first one that we did on the test. I do want to see the algebra on that because it's important for us to kind of understand the process. But after that, you can use your systems of matrices. And so I kind of let that you know that from the test. This one, I need to see the work. This one, I need to see the matrices. But of course, if you need to check a problem, I mean, matrices it'd be a great way to do this, but I want to see the algebra on this, and that's what you'll be graded on. So just FYI on that. So we start off with the argumentative matrix. And if I'm given a system of three equations and three unknowns, then my argumentative matrix are those leading coefficients. So my very first one, okay, is going to be then I have one x, one y, and minus one z equals -5. Now remember, the equals always has to be at the end. So I'm going to go 1, 1, -1, and -5. My next one will be then 3, -1, 1, and then 1. And then my last one will be -1, 5, -4, and 1. And that'll be my argumentative matrix. Now, what you'll do then on your calculator is go ahead and put that in. And I've noticed I've already got 1, make sure it's right, 1, 1, -1, 5, 3, -1, 1, 1, -1, 5, -4, and 1. And this is where, honestly, the only problem you run into a lot of times for me is putting them in right. Like I'll miss a negative and it throws everything off. Then you need to look for the row echelon form. And your review says they want reduced row echelon form. And so I need to click on details and scroll down because I need the reduced row echelon form for my test, or my will be then in the form where they actually have simplified it. So it goes 1 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 1, and then in this case there are numbers we did not get to this year, which is super sad, on what happens when there's an infinite number of solutions. But anyway, you should have, unless you've typed something in incorrectly for your test, you should have numbers that should look like this, where there's ones going diagonally, and then the last column is numbers. This means that my solution, my first one is going to be then x is going to be a -1, 16, and 20. And again, part of the problem with this is that if you just missed a step, if you missed a negative, or if you changed one of these to, like switched one of them around. So do double check. So in other words, I'm going to go put it back into my first equation. I'll have a -1 plus 16 minus 20 should equal a -5. And so in this case, then I will do this -21 plus 16 is a -5, so this one checks out. Then I'll do the same thing with my second one. So 3 times a -1 plus then, or minus, excuse me, 16, because it's a minus y, so minus 16 plus then 20 is going to equal then 1. And so again, you would simplify this and go 3 times a -1 is -3, minus 16 is a -19, plus 20 is 1. That one checks out. And then the last one I would like to see, so I go a minus 1. That'll change it to a positive. So plus then 5 times 16, and then minus 4 times 20 is going to have to equal 1 as well. So in this case, it'll be 1. I'm going to go ahead and do the steps. 1 plus 5 times 16 should be 80. And then minus 4 times 20 is also 80. So these cancel out and you're left with 1. So this one checks out as well. So this is what I'd like to see for your, when it says to check your solution, that's the part I would like you to have. And then we have two that are determinants. Now, keep in mind, I can also do that in my matrix calculator. So I actually have the second one up. Let's go ahead and I want to show you how to do the determinant algebraically, and that way you can also, I'd like you to show your work. So diagonally, you're going to start. So we go down first, and we're going to take -2 times -3. But then we're going to go diagonally up, and that's going to be the subtraction. So I always kind of do like the arrow going up. So I'm going to have -5 times 16. And so on this one, I'll have 2 times -3, which is +6, -5 times 16. Wow, that's 80 again. Okay, so 6 minus 80 should be 74, -74. And again, I don't have a problem with you changing and putting it in your dirt. If you want to check it, check it, because I can go ahead and make my matrices here. I'll go the -2, I'll go the -6, or go +16. And then I will put 5 and -3. Whoops, try and get -3 in the right spot. And then you just had to click your determinant, and you should come up with the same answer. So that was a good way to check your work. And then to do evaluate the determinant, that's a 3x3 matrix. Remember, this one, they show you the long way. I'm only going to give you a 3x3 or a 2x2 for your test. 3x3, you can actually solve it by repeating the first and second row. So I'm going to go 2, -4, -3. 2, 4, and 3. I want to remind you that if you have a 4x4 matrix, you're going to have to go back to that solution, that longer way, the definition of the determinant. So in this case, I'm going to do the same basic thing, but then I've got 3 different rows. So I'm going to end up going down. Okay, and so these are going to give me 3 different amounts. And so I'm going to start off with 2 times 4 times -5. I'm going to add then my next one, which is actually 2 times 0. As soon as I get 0 on my work, I usually kind of quit, but I'm going to go ahead and write it out so you can see what we're doing. Plus then I'm going to have another 0 times -4 times 3. Okay, and that's my first one. I can go ahead and simplify this because I have 2 times 4 times -5. Well, 2 times 4 is 8, times -5 is -40. But then I'm going to have plus 0, plus 0. Now I'm going to subtract then going up. So I'm going to go my diagonally up. And then these 3 are going to be subtracted. So I'm going to put them in parentheses so I don't forget to do the subtraction part. So I'm going to start off with my first going up would be -3 times 4, but it's also times 0, so you're not going to worry about it. Plus then I'm going to have then 3 times 0, again, and I'm going to have a value there. But then my last one, I have plus, I have -5 times -4 times 2. So inside my parentheses, I'm going to keep my minus, but then I'm going to end up with, first one is going to be 0 plus 0, but then I have 5 times 4 times 2. Again, that's going to be a minus. Then I'm going to have a positive, 5 times -4 is positive 80, so I'll go plus 80. But when I have to, I've got to remember that I'm going to do this parentheses inside, and then I'm going to subtract. Did I have 40? Not 80. That's my final answer. Let me try again. 5 times 4, which is 20, times 2 is 40. Excuse me, I think I'm jumping ahead. So I have a -40 from my first parentheses, but I'm subtracting 40 from my second parentheses. So my final answer would be a -40 minus 40, or a -80. And so again, if I went ahead, I've actually had it put in my matrix calculator just to save a little time. And I'm going to click on determinant. And if you notice, I'm also getting the -80 as well. So again, want to see the algebra, but can definitely use your matrix calculator on your test to check your answers. All right, that's chapter 5 and 6. The last one. All right, so I will have a key on the chapter review on the lesson plans. I will also be working on the key for the final, getting it posted as well. If you remember, and I'm gonna remind you. Okay, so for the final, there is a final review. So in the college algebra, it's in two portions. So again, if I click on that document, the in-class final will be starred with a blue star. And so just kind of FYI, those are going to be ones that you need to do in class. And part of the reason is the ones that I feel like, man, if you gotta know those for college algebra. Okay. Some of the other ones, and wanted to use your technology. And so obviously when you're doing some of these when you're solving them for the x to the third and finding the roots, where we used Desmos before, I do feel like it's important for us to use that technology as well. So that's why that part is going to be a take home. Okay. All right. I'll let you guys work.